Hi guys, Denise from Fascinating Cases here. I've always been an overprotective mother, and today's video should help explain why. Today I'm focusing on 5 children who went missing and remain missing. My next video will be 5 children who went missing and their bodies were eventually found. And then 5 children who were kidnapped and then were found alive and able to go home. It's because of these cases that I never let my children out of my sight. And don't worry, they're grown up now and well adjusted. And I realize there's a lot of cases of missing children, but these are the cases that haunt me to this day and help make me the mother I am. First, we're going to talk about 6-year-old Eitan Pates. He was a little boy who disappeared on his way to school to his bus stop in Lower Manhattan. He disappeared May 25th, 1979. It's a case that helped launch the milk carton campaign in the 80s. Profiles of missing children were featured on the sides of milk cartons. What's extra heartbreaking here, it was the first time that Eitan was allowed to walk by himself to his bus stop. The first time he kept asking his mother if he could, and she said yes. It was only 2 blocks away. But he never got on the bus. His teacher noticed he was missing, but didn't question it. The whole school day went by. When Eitan did not return home, his mother Julie called the police. At first, Stanley and Julie Pates were considered suspects, which is very common to look at family first. But soon police realized they had nothing to do with it. A massive search for Eitan was launched, with 100 police officers, helicopters, and bloodhounds looking for the boy. For weeks, neighborhoods were canvassed, and hundreds of pictures of Eitan were distributed and plastered on light poles and storefronts. The search turned up nothing, and years went by, but the case was never closed. Police did zero in on a man named Jose Ramos. They believed he was a pedophile. Ramos told officials that Eitan resembled a boy he encountered in May of 1979, a boy he took back to his apartment and disposed of in the furnace. Police checked it out and nothing was found, and the case continued to linger. Eitan was declared dead in 2001. In 2012, the case was revived when a new suspect was looked into, a man named Pedro Hernandez. He worked at the store right by the bus stop in 1979 when he was 18. Pedro told people that he had hurt a boy. He was interviewed by police for 6 hours, most of it untaped, saying he lured Eitan into the basement of the store with the promise of a soda.
What happened after that?
And then I choked him. Yeah, when I choked him, he went like this.
What made you do this?
I don't know.
You don't know.
It was something that just happened.
He killed Eitan, put him in a box, and carried him away to be picked up by the garbage collector. Hernandez was arrested and tried, but he was diagnosed with multiple personality disorder, and he had a low IQ. Hernandez didn't know what was real or not, and that was his defense at his trial in 2015. At trial, Hernandez said he saw Eitan at the bus stop, but no other parent there saw Eitan that morning at the bus stop, meaning Eitan disappeared before he went to the bus stop. Also, Hernandez, his confession came hours after interrogations that were not recorded. Was he fed what to say before the record button was pushed? After 3 months in April of 2015, the jury was handed the case, but they were deadlocked and a mistrial was declared. A second trial in 2017 ended with a conviction of Pedro Hernandez. But Hernandez recanted his confession, and just this year, in 2025, a federal court of appeals reversed the decision, saying he didn't get a fair trial and a new trial was ordered. Eitan was never found, and in 1983, May 25th was declared National Missing Children's Day. Thanks to this case, the concept of stranger danger was promoted. Next, we have the disappearance of Johnny Gosch. He was delivering newspapers in West Des Moines, Iowa in 1982. He vanished early in the morning on his route when he was 12 years old. And like Eitan Pates, who disappeared when he was allowed to walk to the bus stop for the first time alone, on the morning of September 5th, 1982, Johnny didn't wake up his father to join him on the route, which he usually did. He went out alone. Johnny got up early that morning between 6 a.m. and 7, and he was seen by other paper carriers picking up his load for the day. That was his last sighting. Witnesses saw Johnny talking to a stocky man in a blue two-toned car who was supposedly asking for directions. Another witness could only remember a few numbers on the license plate. A man was also seen following Johnny on his route, and a neighbor heard a car door slam and a Ford Fairmont sped away. That was the exact spot where Johnny's wagon was left abandoned. Customers started calling the Gosh home to ask where the paper was. John and Noreen Gosh investigated and found Johnny's wagon full of undelivered papers. Police were called, but Noreen Gosh said investigators were slow to respond. And months went by. His picture, like Eitan Pace's, was one of the first featured on the milk carton. And then something interesting happened in March of 1997. Noreen Gosh said she answered her doorbell, and standing outside was a now 27-year-old Johnny with an unidentified man. They talked for an hour and a half. Noreen said the man looked just like her son, and he even showed her a birthmark on his chest. He also looked to his companion for approval before speaking. The two left, but authorities questioned Noreen's account, and even her husband, John, said he's not sure that visit actually happened, and if it did, it was someone pretending to be Johnny. Noreen wrote a book in 2000 titled Why Johnny Can't Come Home, and in it she describes what she thinks happened to her son. She believes Johnny was kidnapped and held in a pedophile ring. In 2006, Noreen Gosh found photos by her door of young boys bound and gagged. She said one of them is her son. It turned out to be a prank, though. Just boys from Florida messing around, and all the boys were identified except one. And Noreen says that boy is her son. Another man came forward to say he was also abducted into a sex ring around the same time as Johnny, and the two knew each other. Johnny's mother still tries to keep his name alive. Noreen speaks at seminars and schools about predators of children. And she also helped pass a law in Iowa called the Johnny Gosh Law, saying police must respond immediately when a child is reported missing.
That ensures that there's an immediate investigation. No more waiting 72 hours. You don't do that on a bank robbery. Why would you for a human being?
Johnny Gosh has never been found. Number 3 on the list, we have Sabrina Eisenberg. She was only 5 months old when she was supposedly taken out of her crib in Valrica, Florida. In November of 1997, Marlene Eisenberg woke up and went to the kitchen. She was shocked to see the laundry door to the garage open, and the garage door itself was wide open. Marlene checked her children. She had 2 older kids. They were sleeping. But to her horror, baby Sabrina was missing from her crib. Police were called, and the disappearance shocked the nation.
911. I need the police. My baby's been kidnapped. All right, ma'am, need to calm down. Okay. All right, take a deep breath. What do you mean your baby's been kidnapped? I just got up to wake my son up. My garage door was wide open. My house and my door was wide open, and my baby's gone out of the crib. How old is your baby? My baby is 5 months old. Oh, God, help me.
The house was wide open, and the alarm system was off. Was someone staking out the house? Someone who wanted a baby? The Eisenbergs made a plea to the public. Sabrina disappeared from the safety of her crib in her family home. Searchers scoured the surrounding area, including ponds, but nothing turned up. Soon, suspicion fell on the Eisenbergs themselves. Investigators thought they just weren't acting right. They were extensively interviewed. Marlene said she checked on Sabrina the night before she disappeared around 11:30, and all was well. At 6:30 a.m., the baby was gone. The family didn't hear anything unusual, and the family dog was quiet. Police weren't buying the story. A grand jury was convened to investigate Sabrina's disappearance, and Steve and Marlene invoked the Fifth Amendment, the right to remain silent. Investigators got a warrant to wiretap the Eisenbergs' home. The detectives were listening without the family knowing it. Supposedly, you can hear the Eisenbergs saying things like, "You did it, the baby's dead," and something about cocaine. Judges and anyone else who listened to the tapes only heard static, nothing discernible at all. In September of 1999, Marlene and Steve are charged federally with conspiracy and giving false statements to police. In 2000, charges were dropped because a judge ruled the tapes and the secret recordings were useless. Nothing could be made out, and investigators overreached and acted recklessly. Evidence that points to a kidnapping include fingerprints unidentified on the sliding back door, an unknown hair found in Sabrina's crib, bloodhounds tracking Sabrina leaving the backyard, and an unidentified footprint on the ruffle of the crib. A neighbor also heard a baby crying in the middle of the night. The Eisenbergs say the alarm system came with the house and they never used it, and they often left the garage door open. Marlene and Steve believe someone took Sabrina and raised her as their own. They hope she's alive. They believe it. And here's what she might look like as she aged. She's been missing for almost 30 years. At number 4, we have Kyron Horman, who was 7 years old when he vanished from his elementary school in Portland, Oregon. It was June 4th, 2010, and it was the day of the science fair. He never returned home that day and has been missing ever since. This is the last photo taken of Kyron at that science fair. Kyron's parents, Desiree and Kane, divorced, and for health reasons, Desiree was going into kidney failure. She gave custody to her husband, Kane, and his new wife, Terry Moulton. Kyron still spent plenty of time with his mother, but he lived primarily with his father and Terry, who had a son already, and together the couple had a daughter. Kyron seemed to have a normal and good childhood. On the day he disappeared, Terry, Kyron's stepmom, took him to school. He was excited about the science fair. He got to school around 8:15 and set up for the fair, and Terry snapped some pictures, then left at 8:45. The school was busy that day, with lots of parents coming and going. Terry said she saw Kyron walking to his classroom as she left, but Kyron's teacher marked him absent. The teacher thought Kyron simply went to a doctor's appointment, but that was a week away, and maybe that was a big miscommunication. Kyron never got off the bus at the end of the school day because the driver said Kyron never boarded the bus in the first place. His parents were alarmed and called the school and checked nearby parks. They called police and a search was conducted. Kyron had vanished. Did he leave school on his own? People who knew him said he was too shy and timid to do that. Kyron's mom and stepdad joined Kane and Terry in the search. They held a news conference to spread the word. Police zeroed in on Terry. She was the last one to see Kyron. They wanted to know where she had been after she dropped him off. She said the grocery store, the gym, and then home. And then at 1 o'clock, she even posted pictures of Kyron on Facebook. Witnesses say they saw Kyron leave the school with Terry that morning.
We implore Terry Horman to fully cooperate with the investigators to bring Kyron home.
Know where Kyron is?
Hey,
Do you know where, Terry, do you know where Kyron is? Desiree and your husband are saying that you know where Kyron is.
Terry clammed up. She didn't want to talk with investigators, and she refused to do a lie detector test at first. Then she failed 2 of them. Police looked into Terry's background and found out her marriage to Kyron's father, Kane, was strained. And here's a doozy. Word was she asked a landscaper to kill Kane, and he came forward. This is something Terry denies. And she was dirty texting another man, another parent at the school, just 3 weeks after Kyron went missing. Kane, upon learning all of this, moved out. Terry defended herself and denied ever hurting Kyron. So the 2 main theories are that Kyron was abducted by a stranger or his stepmom was involved. I don't think Terry was involved. Why would she bother to take Kyron to school and then take him away with her in front of everybody? And her whereabouts were confirmed. Other classmates at school saw Kyron present, and there was a creepy man walking around the grounds. Kyron's backpack and coat were still at the school. I think a stranger took him. The search for Kyron was one of the largest in Oregon's history. Kyron was never seen again. And number 5, we have 10-month-old Lisa Irwin. She went missing from her home in Kansas City, October 4th, 2011. Her father, Jeremy, came home from work around 4 a.m., and he found the front door unlocked, a window open, and several lights on in the home. All unusual, he said. He checked on baby Lisa, and she was not in her crib. Lisa belonged to Deborah and Jeremy Irwin. She had 2 half-brothers, 5 and 8, when Deborah and Jeremy got married. Deborah stayed home with the kids while Jeremy worked as an electrician. Lisa was known to be a happy baby. On October 3rd, Deborah put Lisa down for the night in her crib around 6:40 p.m. For the next few hours, Deborah sat on the front porch with the neighbor and drank and smoked cigarettes. Reportedly, Deborah had several glasses of wine, and around 10:30, Deborah, by now drunk, decided to go to bed with the two boys. They all crashed in her bed, while Lisa was in her room with the door shut. When Jeremy came home, he found the house in that unusual condition, with lights on and the front door unlocked. He was frustrated. He woke up Deborah to ask her what the heck was going on. She was surprised to hear about the house in that condition. Jeremy checked on Lisa, and now her door was cracked open, but she wasn't there. He ran to the neighbor's house to see if Lisa was there. She was the neighbor that was drinking with Deborah the night before. But Lisa wasn't there either, and Jeremy went to call police and noticed 3 of the family's cell phones were gone. 911 was called on Jeremy's work phone. Police arrived, and Deborah was hysterical. Officers walked through the house and the yard to find nothing. Neighbors a few houses away reported that they saw a man in a t-shirt walking down the street carrying a baby in only a diaper. And this was around midnight, and it was cold. It was October. Another witness said they saw a man carrying a baby around 3 miles from the Irwin house. But did this grainy video show a man carrying a baby? A wide search for baby Lisa began, and officers tracked down a man who looked like a man seen with a baby on Lisa Street. John Tanko was a homeless man who did odd jobs around the Irwins neighborhood, and he was seen working in a nearby yard on October 3rd. And those stolen cell phones, supposedly one made a phone call to Tanko's girlfriend who said she had wanted a baby. Police cleared him as a suspect, though. On October 6th, police held a news conference to say Lisa's parents were no longer cooperating with the investigation. Deborah failed a lie detector test.
They said that I failed, and I continued to say that's not possible, because I don't know where she's at. I did not do this.
Deborah admitted in interviews that she was drunk the night Lisa disappeared, and she also admitted that she last checked on Lisa when she put her down at 6:40, not at 10:30. Deborah insisted she would never hurt her daughter, drunk or not, and she said her 2 sons did hear something the night of the disappearance. The Irwins hired an attorney. Something concerning did come out during the investigation. A cadaver dog was brought into the Irwins' home. It hit on a scent on the floor next to Jeremy and Deborah's bed, the scent of a decomposing body. Officials then searched the entire Irwin home and yard again, and investigators tried to see if it was plausible that an intruder could have entered the home through that window. They deemed it unlikely. Thousands of leads came in, but nothing concrete. Then in 2012, an interesting piece of information came out. Jeremy said his credit card was charged for a name-changing service from overseas in Great Britain. Was someone trying to change Lisa's name officially? How did that charge come up on Jeremy's credit card? Was it also stolen? Years go by. Age progression photos are released. Jeremy and Deborah are still together, and Deborah has a theory about what happened to Lisa.
If the tips are right and the information we were given is right, she was sold.
I don't think Deborah had anything to do with the case. I think Lisa was taken and could be alive today. Let's hope maybe someday she comes home. That's 5 cases of missing children who remain officially missing today. And 5 reasons why I never let my children out of my sight. And my doors and windows are constantly shut and locked, especially when I'm home alone. I'll drop another video soon on 5 children who went missing, and unfortunately their bodies were found later. I appreciate you watching so much. Please like and subscribe, and I'll be talking to you again real soon. Take care. Bye.